Hi, I'm Joe.
And I'm Taylor. I was waiting for me to.
That's Taylor. The last show, I had no energy. I was low energy like Jeb Bush. It was a campaign joke. Trump said Bush had low energy. I know. It's not going very well.
Our last show, you mean our last show about garage sales?
Yes, I had low energy during that show. Now I have a bunch of high energy for this show.
Why, Joe? What are you telling us today?
Can't lean back.
No, can't lean back.
Can't lean back.
Shadows are bad for the background green screen.
This right here is personal to me. Everything's very personal. This is even more personal than the last thing I said that was personal. You,
I'm gonna move over here.
yes,
The camera.
Taylor, and everyone out there
Yes.
need to understand how critical it is to know the difference between what is a credit union, what is a bank.
I'm out of here.
That's right. It's going to be one of those videos. There's going to be a lot of information. It's not going to be fun, but you need to watch this. You need to know it.
It'll be fun. I'll make it fun. Please stay.
Yeah, he'll put some things like in this region that'll be funny and hilarious, just like they do on that Oliver show.
That Oliver show.
Yeah, exactly.
Oliver show.
We don't address them by his name. We don't address those British twits by their names.
I like that show.
So, has he told you what the difference between a credit union and a bank was?
I don't care.
Do you remember during the financial crisis how much people hated banks?
Joe, what year was that, and what year would I be of age that would care at that time?
Well, it was 2008.
Oh, you're right. That was.
It wasn't that long ago.
I was young, dumb, and ignorant.
Okay, it was the last financial crisis. Remember how everyone was so mad at banks that they were so mad that they produced the Dodd-Frank Act, and Elizabeth Warren was talking about going after the banks and her being an Indian and all that stuff. Do you remember?
No, that seems a little racist.
No, she said it, not me.
Okay.
Yeah. She said she was Native American, and that's how she put it on her college application, and they found out that she wasn't Native
Is that
American.
the one we put? She was black, but she was born white.
No, but close enough. That was Rachel Dolezal. But hey, here's the thing. To Miss Dolezal, who cares? Do your thing, girl. All right? Don't. Who are we to judge? We're just two guys with one video camera. We don't know anything.
And a green screen.
Actually, we do know the difference between a credit union and a bank. That's relevant to this conversation, right?
So why does everybody else know as well?
Oh, yeah, we've gone on long enough. These intros are just killer on these, aren't they? So, the difference between, first of all, if you bank at a bank, a regular bank, like a bank that you know the brand name of, a bank that you can just right off the top of your head, Taylor, name some banks.
Chase, Bank of America, Banco Popular. I don't know.
See, he named three popular banks, one of the name of which was Popular Bank.
Hey.
So, what are the difference between those banks and credit unions? Well, those banks are traded on the stock exchange. They are for profit. They are to make money. And thinking anything different, well, you're just naive. I'm sorry. So, a lot of those banks lost a huge amount of money during the financial crisis for investing in mortgage-backed securities, things like that. Blah, blah. Who cares? Do we care? This isn't the show. This isn't the right show for that. But, and I don't mean another show on another YouTube channel. I mean, this isn't the right show we're doing. We'll do one later on it. Just the pressure you people are putting on me. It's ridiculous.
Yes.
So, credit unions are by members for members. So, you have $5 that you put in a credit union and you are owning a share of the bank and you are a member of the bank. And the union is the bank taking the money that the bank owns and the bank has in their assets. They're not for profit and they have elected board members, and you can have the shareholders of the bank help elect or fire those board members if they're doing a disservice to the bank. The credit union are different types of unions for different types of situations. Like there's a credit union for Disneyland workers called Partners. Do you know that?
Yes, I did.
There's a credit union for people that live in certain places. There's a credit union for,
Teachers.
he just said it, teachers. And there's actually multiple ones. There's not just like schools first or things like that. There's like one that's called like schools credit. There's one that's called Teachers First. There's all kinds of them, but they're smaller than regular banks. But for what they lack in marketing power, they make up for in lending power and power to you as a consumer. So why do I recommend everyone become a member of a credit union? Very simple. They're actually more forgiving than regular banks. Did you know that?
Define forgiving.
Forgiving as in you have credit problems, you have limited credit, bad credit, dings on your credit, late payments, things like that. They actually are more likely to lend to you than regular banks that are for profit, because credit unions have to adhere to a standard of where they help members of their union. So if you're in a teachers union and you have trouble obtaining credit, you're more likely to get credit starting in a credit union first and reestablishing yourself than going off to regular for-profit banks. So they're forgiving in that regard. And they don't stop being forgiving there. They're low or no fees for a lot of their programs. Their overdrafts are very forgiving. You can have overdrafts and then you can call them. Most of the time have them wiped away. They're for lower fees. Or you can have any fees in your account removed entirely. They're cheaper than banks. The loans are often cheaper. Car loans, house loans, personal loans, things like that. Even the credit cards are cheaper. They even offer promotional balance transfers that are often cheaper than most of for-profit banks. The loans that you can get are just amazing. Taylor, you got a car loan recently, and you were part of a union.
Yes.
What was the percentage rate you got on that car loan?
I think I actually got a 3%. 3%.
Yeah. And that's Taylor. He's got all kinds of crazy things on his credit.
My wife actually got 0.5%.
0.5%.
She went through a union.
So maybe Taylor's a bad example because he's got all kinds of crazy stuff going on his credit. So
yes.
For example,
my wife was 0.5%. Yes, sir.
I just threw up right here. U.S. Bank, which is a great bank. I like U.S. Bank. Fine bank. Nothing wrong with U.S. Bank, but they're just a for-profit bank. Rates as low as 3.12% APR on auto loans. That's their lowest they can give you.
Yes.
You got a 3% and you weren't even paying attention.
No.
Your wife got a 0.5%.
And she did research.
And she did research or no research?
She did research. And she made sure she went through all the proper channels. And I knew what I wanted. I found some place and I went and got it. I knew because the good credit that I had gained, and over the steps of our past videos, I mentioned had good credit. That's a great thing you just said. Over the steps of our past videos. Pay attention now. Yes.
He used our past videos to obtain credit years before the videos were made. That's how special these videos are.
Time traveling.
He's time traveling.
But I used the good credit. I went in with the good credit, knowing that I would get a good deal either way, which I did. Which I think my old vehicle, which I mentioned on our video on how to gain good credit, the one I sold to myself and to get payback and got the credit up, that truck was bought for me by somebody who had perfect credit, and they had 4%.
Yeah.
So I went in with my credit and got 3%.
Exactly. It happens like that all the time. Very common. And they might have also perks for you specifically at that union. So, for example, my friend, he has his wife is a teacher, and she's a member of a teacher's credit union. And what they do is they're able to skip a payment once a year, actually 2 times a year.
Is it deferring a payment?
They get to skip it completely, especially because teachers they don't work for 3 months. Uh-huh. And what they could do is they could skip their payments when they're not getting paid or a paycheck. And they can also, there was a payment deferment for when you finance a car for up to 90 days. Defer your payment. You don't have to pay a payment for 90 days on your car. And the percentage that she was getting as a teacher was like below 1%, like 99%, 0.99%, things like that. Uh-huh. So oftentimes too, your credit union could have special perks for you, not only being a union member, and they could also give you perks for being an employee still, that you're able to get that union. Now, they're not going to cancel or remove your bank account because you quit the job or because you're no longer a teacher, things like that. Once you're a member, you get in. So it's important to remember that if you have a job that might have attachment to a credit union, like if you have the USAA, right? if you have Navy Federal or you're an active service member, things like that, you might want to see the benefits you can get in, especially not only if you didn't do those things, but say if you have a direct family member who is in those banks, brother, sister, mother, son, grandfather, grandmother, you might be able to get in as well and take advantage of those perks. But the perks will be endless. We can do videos on just one perk of a backed credit union. We can go against that. And just to let you know how serious of a threat credit unions are to banks, banks were actually lobbying Congress. They actually were lobbying, this is actually true, they were lobbying Congress to have credit unions pay taxes like regular banks pay taxes. Did you know that?
Why don't they pay taxes?
Because they were competing against banks.
No,
and
but why don't credit unions pay taxes?
Because they don't make profits like that. The profits go back to the bank. So, for example, you have a board let's say you have a board at a credit union and you have a president, CEO, stuff like that. They can't just randomly just okay themselves to have millions and millions of dollars of bonuses, expensive Wall Street pay packages, things like that. It has to be approved by all the board members. It also has to be approved by the shareholders, all the people that are part of the union, which is great. That's what credit unions are for. And the reason they also don't pay nonprofit because the money has to go back into the bank. So, for example, if you make money at an actual big for-profit bank, the money goes to dividends to shareholders or it goes to the pockets of the people that are controlling the banks. Well, a credit union, you have to put money back into the bank in your profits and lending power to the consumers. So the regulation is that you have to take the money that you're making in profits and give it back to bank and community members. Isn't that just wonderful? And those banks hated that. They really did. And they were actively pursuing and rallying Congress to get it. You didn't get your credit union emergency email?
I might have, but I just may have deleted it.
That's right. But if they're doing something right when Chase, Bank of America, and all the big banks ban against you for something. They're doing something right.
Yes.
But the other thing about it, too, is they'll give you credit and they'll give you good credit limits. And they won't mysteriously cut your limits if you have a late payment or if you're a little behind or if you call them and tell them you need a payment plan. They won't mysteriously just start cutting your limits and cutting you off, things like that, which is amazing because a lot of actual regular banks do that. You ever experienced that or heard anyone who's gone through that?
No, I have not.
Yeah, he knows a lot of good people. That's why they all pay their bills. But people watching this video out there, you don't pay your bills, do you? That's why you're watching this video. That's why you're watching me, not going to a regular financial counselor, and you're watching this show. It's okay. We won't tell. We won't tell Bob. That's right. Keep watching. He'll be referenced again. But if you can get in as fast as you can, and you'll see the differences right away. You'll see the differences in how they treat you. And if you're wondering about accessibility, a lot of credit unions are available in every state. A lot of credit unions are available all over. They also have the co-op distribution network to where on the back of your card says co-op on it, and you can use any co-op ATM for no fees. They're amazing. Taylor?
Also, I'd like to mention that credit unions don't let anybody in. You have to actually know somebody who's already in one to join. So that's good because it's all about family and friends, not just some schmo off the street.
So if you write us, leave a comment below, or message us on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, you can ask us and say, hey, I know you guys talked about credit unions and you guys talked about how great they are, but I am not a member and I can't become a member. Why don't you just tell us about your situation? And we'll give you an entire list of credit unions you can join right now just by commenting us. But you won't find out unless you subscribe, add us as a friend, and do the follow thing that all those kids are doing nowadays. Right, Taylor?
Yeah, subscribe and email us or comment in the questions. Anything you need, we'll let you know.
So we will, too. We'll be very responsive. So we'll tell you what to join, how to join. We'll tell you if your work qualifies for one, if your area qualifies for one, or even if your parents, brothers, sisters, whatever qualify for one. Let us know. We're here to help. We're a service to you.
I would think so.
We are. No one else is doing this. No one else cares. They don't. Only we care.
Yes. We do care.